Vehicle we're bringing on, very small, looks very warlike, but actually the truth is you don't tend to fight from this vehicle, but it is a very, very important vehicle on the battlefield. This is what's called a scouting or reconnaissance vehicle. This particular one driving around now, this is it was made for the British Army just after World War II. It's called the Ferret Scout Car, and the idea there is that you've got a very small, very mobile vehicle that can go ahead of the main armoured force and find out where the enemy are and report that information back over its radio to the main force, which includes your tanks and your artillery and your infantry, before they go forward. And that's quite an important thing. You never want to advance with your main formation until you know what's going to be waiting for you. Now the Ferret's ideal for that role. It's small, and being small on the battlefield means you're much harder to hit by the enemy. They're going to find it harder to find you in the landscape. And the other great thing about the Ferret is it's relatively fast for its size. The Ferret can go up to about 55 miles an hour on the open road, and that's fast for a big armoured vehicle. Now, it had a two-man crew. You can see you've got a commander in the top. He's got his head out, he's looking where things are going. He's radioing back over his radio all the time back to the force commander. The driver's down the front, and at the moment he's got his hatches open. And if he comes under fire at all, he closes down those hatches and he looks out of little glass periscopes. And the idea there, of course, is if any bullets or shrapnel from a shell hits the glass, it may shatter the glass, but nothing is allowed inside the vehicle to injure the crew or damage the vehicle at all. The problem about those periscopes is when you look through them, you can see some on one of the stands in the museum. It's like looking through the world through a glass fish tank. Everything's slightly distorted outside. And that's why you'll often see tank and armoured vehicle commanders right to the last moment. They'll have their heads out the turret because that sense of spatial awareness is so important to them, seeing what's going on rather than looking at it through those little periscopes. Now there's a lot of things on that vehicle you'll have on your family car, because all British Army vehicles have to be road legal. So you've got headlights on the front, brake lights on the back, even indicator lights. But there's a fair few things on here as well you won't have on your car, at least I hope you haven't got them on your car, like the machine gun in the top. That's a GPMG in that little turret there, General Purpose Machine Gun, the Army calls that one. Again, to be honest, not really there to be fighting with. If you bump into the enemy, quick burst of machine gun fire and back off quick. The tanks coming up behind you, they're the ones to do the fighting, not you guys. So really the machine gun's there for a bit of moral support. You've also got things on the front of the vehicle that you can see on a lot of armoured vehicles in the museum, those stubby little tubes. They're what's called smoke dischargers. And again, the idea is if you get yourself into trouble at all, meet the enemy when you're not expecting it, the driver or commander can press a button that fires out a pattern of those smoke grenades that are inside those tubes. They're about the size of a Coke can. They land in front of the vehicle, create a nice big smoke screen and hide yourself so that you can reposition or get out of trouble and not be seen by the enemy. On the back of the vehicle you can see things like you'll see again in a lot of the vehicles, things like pickaxes, shovels, tow ropes, and on the side of the vehicle nearest to me there's a little silver box. Very, very important on all British Army vehicles, that's the cooker. And the minute this vehicle stops anywhere, if there's British Army soldiers serving on it, out comes that cooker and get a brew on the go straight away. Because tea is, again, for morale, one of the most vitally important things the Army can have. British Army will pretty much go anywhere on tea and a Mars bar, so very, very important thing, that cooker. Now, at the back of this vehicle, there's actually a Rolls-Royce petrol engine. And the Ferret, it's come out of service now with the British Army. They were in service till just after the First Gulf War. They've come out of service now. Some other countries are using them, and some countries have put diesel engines in because petrol, as you all know, burns furiously as soon as you set light to it. So if the vehicle was hit by the enemy, petrol engines tend to go off whopping flames quite quickly. Diesel's a bit harder to burn, so they tend to go to diesel engines in armoured vehicles nowadays. But the Army got rid of these and they actually put them onto the civilian market. And if you fancied it, you can get yourself one of these for about £4,500, £5,000, which is not bad going for a 3-ton armoured vehicle, road legal, and Rolls-Royce engine in the back there. So very, very successful vehicle. Wheels, by the way, because wheels tend to be quieter than tracks. And we'll have a look at tracks in a moment. Wheeled vehicles don't quite make as much noise as that track.